For several years, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, former governor of Kano State, has never hidden his desire to lead Nigeria. In 2014 and 2018, he made two unsuccessful attempts to secure the presidential tickets of the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party, respectively. But this has not dampened his presidential ambition. In furtherance of this goal, this week he announced the establishment of the third force under the auspices of the national movement to wrest power from the APC. According to Kwankwaso, the national movement has members in every local government in the country as well as overseas, and it is their collective goal to rescue Nigeria. Other notable politicians who have joined Kwankwaso on this quest include Buba Galadima, Senator Suleiman Hunkuyi, and Solomon Dalong, among others. Now joining us to provide more insight into this new political movement and its capacity to defeat the two largest parties in Nigeria in 2023 is Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, former governor of Kano State and former minister of defense. Senator Kwankwaso also represented Kano's Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly between 2015 and 2019. Good morning, Senator Kwankwaso, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning, sir. Yes.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Well, quickly.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with this idea of a third force, the national movement. What's the motivation for coming up with this? You are a member of the PDP. What are your grievances with the PDP? Why are you looking the other way? Is it a problem with the zoning arrangement that you thought should be left open? What really are your grievances?
Ruben, thank you very much. You know, I was in PDP since 1998. And of course, 1999, I was opportune to be the governor of Kano State. And 2003, I lost the election. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the then president, appointed me the Minister of Defense. And in 2007, I was in the NDDC representing Northwest Zone. And 2011, I had an opportunity also to go back to Kano as governor. I was there in PDP until 2014 when we mentioned, when we realized that there are many things that were wrong with the leadership under the PDP. And we thought it was necessary at that time to effect change. And five of us from the PDP joined forces with the then registered APC. And we worked so hard to ensure that we took power from the PDP, which we did successfully. Unfortunately, the change that we believed was the best for Nigeria turned out to be the opposite. And that really, in the interest of the country, we thought in 2019 that this change, democratic change, should also be effected. Of course, we have done our best. If you look at the records, especially the votes that came from the north, but for some obvious reasons, the current president had to continue for his second term. Now, here we are in the PDP and, of course, APC on the other side. We tried as much as possible to convince our party and even the APC itself to do the right thing in terms of good management of the party and APC both, the management of the party and, of course, the government itself. It's like all what we are praying for could not be achieved. And for that reason, many of our colleagues, many of our friends thought that there should be need to bring something new. All what we want in this country is to have good democracy, which include good election, good parties, of course, good governments. And that's why we thought in the last 1 year or so that another choice should be given to Nigerians, because we have seen the performance of PDP in its first 16 years, and we are now watching the performance of this party, the APC in Nigeria, and we thought things have to change. Ranjan, we are just discussing the issue of the economy, the issue of security, the issue of education, and many other things that have to do with the lives of our people. And that's why my humble self and many other friends, the few that we mentioned, and many other people from across the country who have shown their faces in the launching, and many other millions of people across the country who, for one reason or the other, could not make themselves available. We are happy that many people were there, and we are equally happy that some people, for some reason who could not go, were able to send their reps to the occasion. Some are still hiding their faces for many obvious reasons, and I'm happy that we were able to achieve that, and that is making a lot of positive impact, really, giving hope for people, ranging from the politicians themselves, who are finding it very difficult, really, to go to either of the two parties for many obvious reasons. Now, the national movement, of course, is giving hope to almost all Nigerians that this is real democracy. You don't have to go through the normal two routes to power. So that's where we are today, Ruben.
And bolts of the plan that you're proposing. You spoke of a Marshall Plan to tackle corruption and tackle socioeconomic challenges. That's a reference to the Marshall Plan post-World War II that rebuilt Europe. It was a $15 billion plan sponsored by the United States of America. Where would the funding for this Nigerian version of the Marshall Plan come from, and how will it be used? Exactly what is the plan? How will you tackle corruption? Details. How will you create socioeconomic opportunities for the people of Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Tundun. You see, if you look at what we have done in Kano, the records are there. In 1999, when I was sworn in, Kano had a huge burden of debt. And before 2003, not only were able to pay all the debt, we are also able to do all the projects and programs that were good enough to be compared to 8 years after that our regime. And when I also came in 2011, my predecessor and successor took loans, both local and international. And before 4 years, we were able to pay the entire debt and did all the programs and projects in all the areas ranging from security to education to agriculture and other infrastructure. Now, you see, when I was living in 2015, I left Kano with zero debt, nothing. We have paid 100%. And you see, my experience in government, both at the national and state levels, you see, the problem is the leadership normally lack capacity to plug all the areas of wastages. And therefore, these are the main issues that I've seen from my experience and from what we have done over time in Kano, for example. We have seen a situation where we can comfortably say that there is a lot and enough money in this country to the extent, if we decide to do the right thing, we are not likely going to borrow anything from anybody. So also at the national level, when I was governor, 1999 to 2003, and Minister of Defense, 2003 and 2007, it was very clear that Chief Olusegun Obasanjo not only refused to borrow any money, but he paid so much debt for this country to the extent that he left a very the economy on a very clean slate in this country. So this is doable. All what you need is to ensure that the issue of corruption is being tackled positively in this country. And I can tell you, in this country, we have good people at all levels, at federal, state, and local governments. And all what you need is to have strong leadership, leadership that can lead by example. And I can tell you, people will follow suit. I find civil servants to be very flexible. If you come with an agenda of corruption, they will guide you and help you to succeed in that direction. And if you come upright and credible, civil servants can always change and support whatever agenda the government brings at all levels in this country. So the issue of corruption, we know, is a real cankerworm. It's a big issue, and it has to be tackled if we have to succeed in this country.
All right. Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, so a lot of people argue with you that there's a difference between Kano and Nigeria, that it's on a bigger scale, and it's not as easy as that. I'll ask you two questions. Number one will be, what will you do about Almajiri and out-of-school children, which is a big problem and a ticking time bomb as regards insecurity? And secondly, is this movement to rescue Nigeria, is it about your presidential ambition or about the Nigerian people? Because a lot of people argue that because Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso thinks he can't get a presidential ticket in the PDP, he wants to go it alone. And it's about you, not the people of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Ruben. You see, the issue of Almajiri, if you check what we have done in Kano, we decided to work with the State Assembly and enact laws that stopped and prohibited Almajiri system that we inherited in Kano. And it was very clear. We had a law on the ground. We ensure that we built adequate schools. For example, we had one boarding technical school with all the equipments and facilities in each of the 44 local governments. And for those who are interested in Islamic education, we established school for Islamic studies, each in the 44 local governments, making 44 of them. We established hundreds of secondary schools and primary schools and tertiary institutions, 2 universities, of course, and so on and so forth. So you will be amazed. The entire Islamic ulama came out and supported our program of Almajiri in Kano. During our time, nobody was bringing any Almajiri from any state in the Federation. And nobody was taking his own child outside the Kano in the name of Almajiri. And the good people of Kano supported us, gave us all what we needed for the program to succeed. So I can show you, or I assure you, that that has been done successfully in Kano. And Kano, even though it's one of the 36 states in the country, but of course, Kano has the largest population going by the 2006 census in this country. It's a good fraction of this country. So if we could do it in Kano, which ordinarily should be seen as the center of Almajiri in this country, I believe it can be done in this country, and people will support. Nobody wants to send his children to school, to Almajiri school, unless if it becomes extremely necessary. And that's why we provided all what we required at that particular time and what the people and the children required. And it was very successful in Kano. Now, on the issue of my own aspiration, let me tell you, Ruben, that from 92 to date, from the days of my House of Reps to date, is 30 years. But if you look at it from the Fourth Republic, when I was governor, 1999 to 2003, and Minister of Defense, 2003 to 2007, at that time, I, right in my mind, believed that I had all the requirements to start aspiring to be president in 2007. Like many other colleagues that we started governor in 1999. But you see, I wasn't in a hurry to become president. Even when I was deputy civil servant for 17 years in Kano, I was deputy speaker, House of Reps. I was governor for 4 years at that particular time. I was Minister of Defense. I was advisor to President. I was in so on and so forth. Many of my colleagues were aspiring to become president. Mine at that time was to go back to Kano to complete my unfinished job, my second term in Kano. So I had to go back. In 2011, I became governor and I completed the second term at that particular time. And that it was then that I looked back, it's like, okay, what else? The best thing probably is to move forward. And that was the 2015 when I started to aspire to become president. And you could see that immediately after the primaries in Lagos, I came out 100% to support President Buhari to become president of the country, believing that the change would be the best for the country. And so also in 2019, when we supported Atiku 100% to become president, and God decided that APC would continue again. So it's not a matter, we see it as any game. We are in it, we are in the game of politics, and of course we are working not for our individual selves, but for the country. You don't know the frustration of politicians today in this country, and you don't even know the frustrations of voters. And that is why you have voter apathy everywhere. You find people in many states, you have people coming out, the percentage less than 20% or 30% in many states, because people are not interested in the parties, people are not interested even in the individuals. Because you see, what is happening in this country today is that we have people, maybe former governors, maybe former ministers, maybe sitting governors or ministers at helms of affairs at national and state and local governments, trying to ensure that only they are friends. And you see sometimes, in fact, most cases, you find the friends of those godfathers are not the same with the friends of the voters. And everybody today is very much worried, is very much interested who becomes what, especially who becomes the president of this country. And that's why we tell all the political parties that they should try as much as possible to listen to the people. Don't go and impose a candidate because you like him or you think he's from your religion or from your ethnicity. We have passed that level. Nigerians today are looking for somebody, even if that person has no religion at all, who can come and fix all this mess that we find ourselves in. This is exactly what Nigerians are talking about. And that's why we thought we should give an alternative while we have the capacity to do that in this country.
Well, Senator, based on what you just said, I'd like you to comment on the politics of zoning. Because it's not all Nigerians that are saying the next president can come from wherever because he has good intentions. Indeed, more Nigerians, particularly in the South, including governors of the South, are saying specifically that the next president of Nigeria must come from the southern part of the country. And we have seen in the case of the APC, in fact, adopting the zoning formula of the PDP. And the explanation that is given for that is equity, fairness, and justice. So, why do you think that Nigeria has gone beyond zoning? Whereas people are saying, look, after 8 years of President Buhari's presidency, the next place for the next president to come from is the South.
You see, all those ideas, Ruben, are coming from my colleagues, politicians. Many of my colleagues are very lazy. They find it very difficult to work. They find it extremely difficult to convince people. So what they normally do is to go and start spreading these sentiments that it has come from this religion, it has to come from this zone, forgetting the history. All those who are supported in the North or in the South were not just supported because of that. Many of my personal supporters were not just from the North or the Muslims or Igbos or Yorubas or Hausas. They cut across the people of this country and sometimes even beyond that. So you see, when people are working very hard, people who have proved to be upright, people who are full of integrity and so on, you see, you find the people either because they have money or they have worked as civil servants, or they have worked in this bank, or they are in the military. We need all that. But what we need really is beyond just one line, profession or experience. We need people who have shown their capacity. We need people who have proved over the years that they can do, because who can do the job. Because now is not the time to have any experiment again. So, and even if somebody is coming from it's okay, we have no problem. In my other program that we had with you, I told you that personally I supported more Southerners to become president than Northerners in my 30 years experience as a politician, ranging from our leader, our father, Chief MK Abiola, during the SDP when I was in House of Reps against Topa from Kano. We have supported Chief MK Obasanjo from South, a Yoruba man, a Christian, against Rimi from my hometown, from my state. And we supported Jonathan in 2011 against Buhari. And you don't know how much we have been attacked in Kano. So many houses were burned. My house was attacked because of Jonathan against Buhari, and so on and so forth. So you see, we are not, I come from a very cosmopolitan city where I believe we are all Nigerians, whether you are Christian or Muslim. In fact, you see this Kwankwaso, you hear, most people believe that it is Okonkwo and Sons. Because of my love and relationship with the Igbo community in my hometown. I come from a place where you have so many people over the years, because in my village we have railway station where they believe that I am from that family and so on. I never said no, and it never worried me. Today, by the grace of God, even the Okonkos are part of the constituency I'm aspiring to lead. So it's not a matter of religion or things. You should try and prove yourself. Once you do that, people will support you. Like now, I have supporters across the country, including your own village, your own hometown, and especially in northern Nigeria today. Hardly can you get any house, one good house in Nigeria, without having somebody who believes in what we are doing. Either the man himself, the father, or the mother, or the security man, or the gardener, or there has to be somebody. Because we have proved over the years that we are capable, we have the capacity to do the job, and we convince the people that we have people-oriented programs that we inherited over the years from our leaders, especially Malam Aminu Kano of blessed memory, where we get this red color cap and, of course, white gown and or suit and black shoe. So all these things are done over the years, and we continue to do them. And my advice to my colleagues, politicians, that they should learn from history, You don't go to Lagos or Abuja and sit down and say you have to take it to south or north. You don't, parties, these are purely party responsibility. And I can tell you APC has no option other than to take it to the south, going by the fact that this president in the party is from the north. But party, PDP is flexible. Out of the 16 years PDP was in government, 14 years was in the south, 2 years in the north. And even the last candidate was from the north. People would ask what really happened, that it has to be taken to the south. Certainly not because governors or any association or union met and decided. Look, even if I am not, for whatever reason, I'm not contesting or I have to support somebody, we are human beings. We want to support people who we are sure of the fact that they will do the right thing. Because first and foremost, we are Nigerians, and whatever they do, it will affect us. And we want people really who can go with us, because it's not only Rabiu Kwankwaso. I may look the only person talking to you, but I want to tell you that there are many millions of people who believe in us, who would be very happy to go with us because they believe that once we get the opportunity, they will also get their own share of opportunities in this country.
Well, your personal credentials as a detribalized Nigerian is not in doubt. Neither is the reach of the Kwankwaso movement. But what you've just said about houses being burnt because of your support for the former President Goodluck Jonathan is the same as some Southerners have experienced because of their support for President Muhammadu Buhari. So my question to you is this. When we talk about a unified Nigeria, are we actually dreaming, or is it possible? What is it going to take such that you can support who you like without being called a traitor, or criticize who you find fault in without being called a tribalist? Is this goal of a unified Nigeria actually possible?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure of what you said, but if you are talking of people in Nigeria who have the capacity and who are willing to serve to unify this country, I'm sure there are quite a number of people, but the fact remains that election means putting everybody on a scale and compare them and take the best. And the best is what we need for this country. And that was why we thought of bringing additional platform that will help in this country.
Right. So you said something while you were speaking, that if there's a possibility in the future that you will support somebody, and a lot of people imagine that you have started this movement so that a lot of people will say this is Kwankwaso and his people. And if they want your support, they negotiate with you. I ask you today, sir, are people already talking to you as regards possible support of their ambition? And will you collide forces with them?
Yes, you see, one of the issues we had with the PDP was our zonal Congress. Our zonal Congress, we had positions shared among the 7 states. And unfortunately, many people who are either on power or who are in control of the party structures in the states thought that I should be shortchanged. I should be the only leader, state leader, who should not be allowed to nominate people from his state. And that angered me, and of course, angered our supporters the more. And at the end of the day, we were not happy. And secondly, the fixed time for the election to take place, because the first one was aborted. And we went to Kaduna for some security issues. We couldn't do the election. And at the end of the day, on the 12th of this month, we went to Kaduna again. And some young men and women got a court order that the man they were proposing to embrace us in Kano shouldn't contest election. And we felt ordinarily, if people were sincere, that leaders of states should nominate their people based on the allocation to the state. It was a very good opportunity for the PDP to do that. But because many people had agenda, and that agenda was simply to embarrass me and embarrass Kano State. And at the end of the day, they say, okay, instead of going for the election, let's go and vacate the order again in the court to ensure that Kwankwaso is shown to the world as somebody who has no capacity to even win election in the zone. So you see, these are little things, but the main thing is that things are not going well. And everybody knows, you know it, everybody knows in the country. You see, today as we are sitting, it may look good, all of us may look good having this interview, but I can tell you what is happening in the Northeast, what is happening in the Northwest, or even North Central, or even the Southeast and South in general. You see, something has to be done. We cannot continue just like that. And today, it is our responsibility to come out under this system, because we are the people who are in the field today by the grace of God. We have to do something. We cannot just continue with the economy as it is, with the insecurity as we see it everywhere, with the issue of bad politics, bad almost everything. That's why we are saying is, while we have an opportunity to do the right thing, we have to come out, we have to stand up and be counted among those who have at least tried to do something for the betterment of our people in this country.
Well, Senator, we have just about a minute to go, but we'd like to ask you about your relationship with your successor, the current governor of Kano State, Governor Ganduje. Have you reconciled with him, or is there still no love lost between the two of you?
You see, everybody knows Ganduje was my deputy governor from 1999 to 2003. And of course, he was my special advisor when I was Minister of Defense. And during the Adua, we lobbied, and by the grace of God, he was the Executive Secretary of Chad Basin Development Authority in Chad Republic. And when I got ticket in 2010, I asked him to come back to Nigeria, resign, and become my deputy again. At the end of the day, he became, when we were going, we felt he was the most senior in the elected in our group. So we decided that he should take over. But, you know, as human being, many people, when they become president or they become governor, they just assume that is the seat. And now that they have it, everybody is a chicken. They can do anything. They don't know the limitations of democracy. And at the end of the day, you know all what happened, including denying me to go to Kano for 3.5 years when I was in the Senate, all sorts of things. But maybe, and of course, I lost many people, including my father. At that time, he wasn't in a hurry to come and say anything. But you see, as we are growing, even if you are 100 years, the following day will be 100 years plus 1 year, or plus 1 day, or plus 1 month. People are learning. Some will learn the hard way. So we are happy when he came, condolence in my house in Kano, and people are asking, why waste of all this precious time? Why did you have to, as a governor, create unnecessary trouble or crisis that was purely avoidable, and so on and so forth? But, you know, we are not in politics to fight people. We are in politics to make friends, even though we know many people are not the best. But in politics, you need majority. And if you have to work with everybody who, unless if some, I mean, the good ones, you will hardly get the majority. So politics is a game of number. We are ready to increase our number. We always want to see plus, plus, plus. And that is the game. And that's why we are strong. And that's why we are all over the country. cutting across all ethnicities, all the religions, even without people without religion. We are all together with them as brothers and sisters in this struggle to make Nigeria a better place for everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso.